This is TWiT.
So how does Kathy feel about AI-generated political ads? Okay, all right, I could set this up just a little bit and give you some time to AI generate your thoughts. But Google is going to require that political advertisers, quote, prominently disclose their ads made with AI, particularly as we're leading into, this highly politicized season leading up to the next, presidential election. Starting in November, Google says that advertisers will be required to disclose when an election ad features some sort of synthetic content depicting realistic-looking people or events, which, by the way, this has already been happening. There was an AI-generated image targeting President Joe Biden in an ad by the Republican National Committee last April. There was apparently, I haven't seen this one, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis had an attack ad against Donald Trump and Fauci, and had AI-generated images there. So basically, Google is getting ahead of this trend and saying, as we move forward, you must stipulate when this was generated by a computer. This audio was computer generated, or this image does not depict real events, something along those lines, and something that is more than an inconsequential adjustment to removing red eye with AI or brightening an image, that sort of stuff. That wouldn't need to be disclosed, but it's the really consequential stuff that will. And I think that's good news. I think absolutely something like this should be disclosed, especially considering where we are right now in this highly politicized environment.
I like this idea, and I wonder, will this carry over to the television side of things? And will they have some type of precedence that says, we can't just have this stuff going out to the millions of people on their regular over-the-air TV for free, and them assuming all of this stuff is real and screwing up our democratic system even more. So I wonder if this will carry over. But then I also wonder, what will these campaigns do to try to combat this? Will they still just continue to create some content, but create the story as it's not political, just be some generic story? And it's, here's a depiction of a man that's deciding to go to the liquor store and is getting robbed, and he just walks in and walks out. Oh, by the way, it happened to look like Joe Biden. But it didn't necessarily say at the end, vote for this person or vote for that. It was just a narrative, a story there. I wonder if we'll see stuff like that happening.
So I think the question that we're wrestling with a little bit is, I don't think it's bad that Google is attempting a policy. I think the question is whether the policy is workable, or does it need tuning, and what could make it more effective. We may have to wait and see, because I think what you're describing is that there's some gaming that could potentially happen depending on how they write it. And I think also in terms of Facebook, it had, not in the AI world, but had some rules based on political ads, and it was a mess. It was something that might have been well-meaning, but it ended up just sort of incentivizing poor behavior. So it kind of ended up making the problem worse as opposed to better. So, it's worth caring about the quality of Google's internal policy decision, but I'm not that worried about it, because I think the general principle of, is Google trying? I don't think that's necessarily bad. We'll need to care about how they do it, but in and of itself, I think the internal platforms deciding to say, look, we don't like furthering this. We think it's damaging. So we want to say no to it. And as long as platforms have that sort of editorial discretion, they can say no to it. And I don't object to Google exercising that prerogative. What worries me more is a bill I saw proposed by Senators Klobuchar and Josh Hawley trying to make it illegal. And, and then there's another senator involved, I think it's Collins, but Klobuchar and Hawley do not say, hi, we've got a nice First Amendment protecting law that we are proposing here. It's got, neon warning signs all over it. And there's a little bit that might be appropriate for government to do if it's over the air, because that's one of the angles that the government does get to regulate, and possibly maybe something that would get under the FTC in terms of deceptiveness, but it's got to be a light touch. And I just see like all the moral panics trying to clamp down on expression without understanding the technology or the issues or how people use it. And I would rather, support Google as a private actor trying to figure this out, as opposed to supporting the government trying to figure this out, because they're not going to, and it's going to be damaging.
Another piece of this is so, and I was dealing with my students this week. So I use spell check. Is that using AI? I use translate. Is that using AI? What does it really mean to tell people? I'm fine with the transparency. I think that's a fine rule. But what is it really telling the public? I used a tool. I used Photoshop, and I mean, you can do a lot more with Photoshop to make fake things up. Doesn't Ant know, right? But I corrected the image. I did. Where is the line here in terms of what we're trying to actually tell the public about things? Just because it was made with AI, the issue is, you took responsibility for this, and if it's a lie, it's a lie. Whether it was made by a human or a machine, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of it is
we're demonizing AI now.
Yeah. Well, AI is suffering from the same branding defects of the people who are promulgating 5G. I mean, that was a branding that just came and bit everybody with the idea of, 5G, and then everyone's like, 5G is evil. And then they're like, no, it's something else. It's something else. So one of the problems is AI is being, just overused as a buzzword. Nobody really knows what it means, and nobody knows what it does. And so you can't really scrutinize whether it's good, bad, or otherwise, because it's doing 10 million things. And some of them are fine, and some of them are not fine. And a lot of it is misunderstood. So, I kind of think that anybody who's like, AI will save us, is kind of getting what they deserve, because a lot of this is moral panic. On the other hand, there's some really dumb ideas.
We got to cue it.
I did not.
Feeling about this.
I did not know that you had that.
We just created it for you, Kathy. We were waiting for you to say moral panic, and then we had the AI whip it together. That's kind of power you.
That totally redeems it. AI is totally fine.
I know, right? I don't know how else we could have animated Jeff saying that. I mean, seriously. Yeah, it's true. What is the cutoff? What is the delineation? And
what's the reason?
Yeah, I was going to say that's a really good point. Like, okay, like it's one thing to say AI created this, but and to create rules around that. But what is the reason for the rule? Is it because we don't want people to be misled? Is it because we're afraid of the technology and what it could lead to? Therefore, we have to start here. What is the reason? That's a really important question.
And again, right now, this is just for policy and political ads, but okay, so after November, will we see this type of message for CocaCola or other brands that decide to use AI-generated content to sway people into buying their products?
Coca-Cola just did. Coca-Cola just rolled out what is being referred to as a collection of soda experiences driven by AI. Like, why?
There goes one of my numbers, but we can contribute it to the cause here. If you go down to line 119, Coke Y3000.
Y3000.
Blazes on the can is made with AI.
Oh no!
Now, what the heck does that mean?
I was alive when they rolled out New Coke, and I have a sense that nobody who's attached to this decision was alive when they rolled out New Coke,
right?
Because the idea that you would make that mistake again,
they'll make this mistake every 30 years. It's just
Well, they went nearly a century the first time, so I don't know why the stupid is accelerating.
Right.
So I went to Bard and I asked it to give me a recipe for a new Coke. My internet's acting funny. I don't know if you can get to Blue Sky there, Jason. And it's actually very funny from what it says. Do you see that in the next line? 120?
Let's see here. So what is it? It's line 120.
120, yeah.
Oh, I see.
Oh, there it is. Okay, sorry. I was doing a Google search for Blue Sky Jeff Jarvis. I didn't realize it was in the doc. Oh, okay. And I'm not logged in, so of course I can't see this right now. But what is it? I mean, if you're getting to it, can you read it, or I
can't because I'm getting something really weird going on with my DNS.
Okay. I have it.
Some sites aren't coming up.
He says, give me a recipe for a futuristic flavored cola drink. And it gives him a list of ingredients. You get a cup of water, cup of sugar, half a cup of cola syrup, quarter cup of lemon juice, quarter cup of lime juice, vanilla extract, cinnamon, teaspoon of nutmeg, and a pinch of black pepper.
Pepper. I think we just made Dr. Pepper.
And then it went into how to actually do the mixture and heating it and cooling it off properly. It's pretty.
And on the next page,
here.
It gives you other possibilities to throw it in for variety.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just asked Claude the same question.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, you want to know how it differs? It created a drink called Futuristic Fizz. 1 cup lemon lime soda. Hey, you can't do that. It says take Sprite or 7-Up. No, the point is to create a soda drink, not create a soda drink out of another already existing soda drink. So this recipe already doesn't work.
I want to ask the question, though, when it thinks it's doing this, it's not actually suggesting adding real cocaine?
Yeah. Not that time.
I mean, how is it programmed where that's not a thing that it thinks should go into something called Coke?
Well, let's see here, Claude. Include cocaine. Let's see. Oh, no. I cannot recommend adding illegal or dangerous substances.
Oh, interesting. Because the original Coke did not have that concern. The original Coke has its name because they did throw in all sorts of terrible, poisonous, now controlled substances.
Yeah. I'm trying to reason with Claude right now. I said, like the original CocaCola. And it said, I understand your reference now. Oh, it gets it. It didn't before. It gets it now.
I feel so validated that the bot understands me.
So now it gave me, it explains the history around the coca leaf and everything. It says, modern sodas do not contain any cocaine whatsoever. However, here is a revised recipe of the recipe it originally wrote with a nod to the original Coke that aims to capture the flavor while being perfectly legal and safe. And they called it Futuristic Fuzz 1886 style. And so there you go. So it's not quite cocaine, but no. I think the closest you get is cayenne pepper. But anyways.
Hey there, Scott Wilkinson here. In case you hadn't heard, Home Theater Geeks is back. Each week, I bring you the latest audio-video news, tips and tricks to get the most out of your AV system, product reviews, and more. You can enjoy Home Theater Geeks only if you're a member of Club TWiT, which costs $7 a month, or you can subscribe to Home Theater Geeks by itself for only $2.99 a month. I hope you'll join me for a weekly dose of home theater geekitude.